Introducing Rawad IT Solutions. Rawad is a 360 business model with new initiatives that have reshaped the information technologies prospect in the region. We apply our expertise and business intelligence acquired over the 10 years to make an unparalleled decision focused on the business outcomes that positively impact our stakeholders. Rawad IT Solutions has well-qualified and experienced engineers and technicians specialized in cybersecurity, network designing, penetration testing, cloud services and annual maintenance contract of all IT works. The success behind the new IT 360 model is not from the technology you procure, but having the right expertise with proper consulting and building the solution around it. Consulting and design. Deployment and integration. Vulnerability assessment. Training and awareness program. Maintenance and support. Rawad IT Solutions to design, develop and deliver flexible IT solutions to keep their IT infrastructure up and running. This helps the client to relocate high-end staff to other value-building initiatives within the organization and reduce downtime. Furthermore, our uptime management encompasses a disaster recovery mechanism in the event of an emerging issue. By leveraging our team of certified experts, you can improve end-to-end responsiveness, drive workplace productivity, and maximize your technology investments.
So I'm Farooq Khatib. I'm the pre-sales manager in Sangfor. And today we are, as already Mr. Sabahat has introduced you the Sangfor, what is Sangfor and what are the product lines, and actually what is Sangfor. So now, without wasting time, we are going to have some technical deep dive to understand what is Sangfor Firewall. So basically, okay. So today we are going to have some technical deep dive related to Sangfor Firewall, and we will see what are the technical administration and implementation, how Sangfor Firewall is benefitable in your environment and in any organization which is required the cybersecurity to protect their internal environment and their internal user, their business assets and servers and business applications. So initially we will go through the introduction, and we will see how we can deploy a firewall and VPN solution and user authentication, bandwidth management, access, network security, and device management. So first of all, I would like to share like why we need firewall in the network. So basically, if we can say we have two segments. There is a public area, means the public side, and the private segment. So every infrastructure and every organization and over the communication, we can say there are two sides. We have one is private segment and one is the public segment. Even though the communication is also can be happen in the private segment within the network, like your staff is communicating with your servers and business application within the network, and they are also communicating with the outside of your network is the WAN area, where they are going to access multiple, the websites and cloud applications and so on, many things. So the communication happen between means in horizontal, vertically, and means north, south, and east, west, every side of the network, you can say. So basically, this communication sometime have just wait. Okay, sorry. So basically, if we can say from outside of the network, you are currently inside a staff, means using over the means going towards the internet and surfing over the many websites. So from there, they may have risk to have potential virus to means go through the potential risk of the viruses and worms and other things they can able to download into their network. And there are some multiple, means there are ransomware attacks and other attacks they can face from over the internet. So the journey of the virus has started in 1990s, and it is timely evolved into the worms and spywares and the other type of variant of malwares. And out from the outside of the network, their attackers they started to try multiple methods of penetrate and exploit your internal business application inside to your network. And they use multiple methods by them. They start to penetrate in your network, and they are exploiting your internal business application so that your internal business and operation can be effect. So nowadays, as per the new security threats and security trends are something like that. Before we are used to have the application that built on the HTTP only, and after that they are started to create it over the HTTPS, which is a socket secure layer protocol. They used HTTPS protocol to create the applications. So most of the, as per according to the Gartner report, the 75% of the attacks based on the application layer, and that may cost you to manage your operations and maintenance, and which makes you the difficulty to optimize and maintain your internal infrastructure. So by that way, the major thing that you are face means in the security, like the visibility, what are the users having doing over the internet, how they are using your internet services. So you guys, that as per the network administrator and the IT administrator, you don't guys have any visibility of the what they are doing and what traffic is going on between your internal staff and the endpoint and over the internet. So the real-time detection was the problem initially, and nobody was having the post detection, and that how if anything happens. So there is a no detection mechanism before, and again, the operation and maintenance are the big risk, and it was a wasted of the time wasting criteria, because once the any incident happen into your network, so it will take more time to identify and responding to the any action to take for the isolate from the network. So that is the major things that we face earlier, and that makes your application performance very degraded into the security layer. So initially, the security evolved. Like initially, the firewall just is performed as a basic functionalities, unless like it considers as a stateful firewall. Just do the packet filtering and the ACL functionality. Just it will perform, allow, and deny the traffic which is going from the two-way direction from the WAN to your LAN segment and LAN to your internal DMZ, where we who have your servers and business application. So initially it is something like just to control the traffic only. So I by the passage of time, it is changed and evolved and adopt some new feature set, like it incurred the UTM, unified threat management, and then by the time of passage of time, it incurred also the APT, advanced represented threat protections, and the web capability in the firewalls. So that will also add some more features to protect from the advanced coming threats and the security protections which is coming newly into the market, like the malwares, worms, trojan. So time by time it evolved and increased the security of the network. So basically, by the time, what are the main challenges? So, for example, if we are going to analyze by the security evolution, the total cost of operations and maintenance or because related to the security was so high, and we was not getting the actual performance and the actual protection against the security. So by the time of message, as we can say the how the technological improvements made in the firewalls that give you the total threat preventions and reduce the cost of ownership. And one more thing which I want to express is already shared by Mr. Sabahat as well, that our firewall is having the WAF capability in a one box. In other brands, you will have this capability separately, but in Sangfor Firewall, this capability you have in a it will come with the Sangfor Firewall functionality. Okay, so network the secure firewall of the Sangfor will give you the three areas. It will protect you the give you the protection in three areas. One is in network security, which is give you the authentication like a feature set. It will give you the network address translation protection from the DOS and DDoS attacks, and it will give you the VPN solution. And we will go to the visibility over the business application. So it will give you the guarantee bandwidth management, and so that you can manage your bandwidth, which is coming from the WAN, or if you are using from the LAN to your business application, like in the DMZ. So it will give you the management of the bandwidth, and it will also legitimate basically control your bandwidth for the user of your internal staff who are surfing internet services. And it will also protect your some applications which is running in the backside of the network and consume your bandwidth, so that it will trigger, identify, and it will stop that applications so that they will not use or means create your bottleneck in the mean peak hours. So also it can cover the basically there's no there is a lot of big database of the business applications. So which is some kind of like in your environment some people use illegal VPN, some other social media applications, and there are lots of applications which is are not required to run in the organization at the business hours. So there is a lot of application that you can able to block, so the users cannot be able to use within the official hours. And there is some application security we have, like the IPS, intrusion prevention system, WAF, web application firewall, as a APT antivirus. And we as well as we have some mechanisms to identify unknown threats by some traditional methods like sandboxing and backtracking. Also, you can have the complete visibility of the application control logs. Our firewall give you the complete logging system mechanism we have in our firewall. So you can see the application control logs, traffic logs, even you can see the complete real-time vulnerability analysis. I will show you further in our upcoming slides how our firewalls give you the complete visibility. It is a very, unique thing in our firewall, so that you can find out the every single end user, their functionality, their processes, what they are doing inside your network. And even we have a report center. You can generate multiple reports for your auditing purpose, and you can see the network security log. Risk assessment means that you can analyze, means scan your internal network so that it can give you the complete brief of the risk. What are the potential risk is available in your network, in your infrastructure. And even though you can see the web scanner, by this you can see the open ports, over which are the open ports which is reflecting towards the WAN services. Okay, so basically what we can say, there are the two segments. I already said there is a trusted network and untrusted network. The trusted network is something where you have your internal end stations and your servers in the DMZ, and untrusted network is something that over the internet, which we can consider as a untrusted network. So what we required to control the network's access across the firewall, and itself we need to means we also need to protect our firewall as well. So if your the firewall itself having the capability to protect itself, so that it can be able to protect your internal infrastructure as well. Okay. Simply, the functionality that we can consider the principle of the network security policies. For example, there is some incoming flow, and for example, your internal user is trying to serve internet or trying to send that communication traffic over the internet. So there are some policies that we can implement, and we can allow or deny them. By that policy, you can control the traffic, and by implementing the action, you can restrict them to serve over the internet and use the specific only allowed facility, or deny their traffic flow towards the internet. The core values of the NSF, basically, see again, it will give you the complete comprehensive visualization of the risk. So basically, if you are an administrator, or you are the technical lead of or in your organization, and you are responsible to protect your internal environment. So if anything is happening, some kind of means the virus is attacking in your system, and throughout it's propagating to other means other users, any DDoS attack is happening in your network. So you need something to troubleshoot, identify, and have some kind of any tool, so that you can visualize it, how it's happening, which is the source and which is the destination, and how it's the what is the actual procedure it is happening towards, so that you can able to identify and take some preventive actions to protect and stop that thing. So ultimately, even if you don't have any kind of visualization, so you cannot able to do this. Okay, so our goal is to protect the business applications, and means we, according to this, we need to secure our internal infrastructure for the from the unknown security threats, and the perspective of the future of the security. Okay, so the comprehensive visualization of risk with the basics of the security, we can say you can have the full visibility in NSF with the visibility of the business risk. What are the business risks you have? And by the, you can identify the assets into your network, and you can check the attacks and event. You can see the attacks and events, and what is attack is occurring in your network. And again, I said there is real-time visibility and analysis you can see on your dashboard under the Sangfor Firewall, and means their risk status in overviews. And it will give you the full visibility of the access behaviors, like what are the actual attack chain is happening, and what the hacker is doing, and how it's compromising your internal infrastructure. And it will display the attack type, what are the attack function is happening in your network, like it is some kind of a ransomware attack is happening, there is some malwares are there in your infrastructure, in some PCs there, because in every infrastructure has thousands and more than thousand of the PCs in the infrastructure. There are lots of means gadgets, some kind of IoT equipments. There are a lot of such assets are there in the environment, so that you cannot see and have the visibility which end user and endpoint is affecting your infrastructure, so that it will give you the evidence of attack. Once, for example, if something is happened into your network with the end user, with some end user is having some botnet, it is continuously generating some triggering some actions towards the internet to some server and sharing some kind of information of your network, so it will highlight and it will give you the complete information with the evidence. Again, means this is the same thing that we can see the visibility. We can say this the visibility of user risks, attack, event display, compromised event, endpoint displays, and it will show you the risk status in a good view. So firewall of the Sangfor, before the event, it will anticipate properly your network, and it will give you the complete defensive means precautions it will take properly during the attack, and after the event, it will give you the detection and the response so that you can protect your complete environment. See, what are the unknown threats? So if we talk about the feature of the security defense and defending against unknown threats, like for example, if I can say, the ransomware attack very well. So ransomware attack, it happens, and the last year report of the 2023, it affect many organization and give the cost of loss of 1.1 billion USD. Okay, so it have a multiple varieties, and it is something like day by day, hackers and attackers are just working on the new variants of the malware and the Trojan worm, the ransomware. You can see you have the multiple varieties of the ransomware like WannaCry and the rapid attack, and there are a lot of more variants you will see, and day by day new variants are coming into the market, so they are trying more new technique and tricks to exploit and make and find out the vulnerability of your environment. And this is the reason we can say we don't know the what are the new threats and the what are the new variants and what are the new ways how they are attacked. So these are the coming into the market day by day. So they are the unknown some kind of attacks, such kind of malwares, where multiple new variants of the viruses, APT, zero-day vulnerabilities, and if you can say the web-based, so you can say web shell, Asterisk strike. So there are many new unknown threats are coming into the market. Okay. We have every firewall having some uniqueness. So Sangfor Firewall is having unique in Sangfor Engine 0. That is something like that. We have our own algorithms, and we have complete, artificial. We can use artificial intelligence in terms of recognizing and identifying and check the new variants that are coming into the market, so that we can analyze their patterns, how they are trying to attack into the network or into the organizational of the IT asset, so that we can analyze and we can recognize and we can store their patterns to our database, so that in future it will re-attack or try to re-attempt this functionality, so that we can already have the protected we have the protection mechanism to protect and avoid such kind of bugs. So this is the our engine 0. So I will give you one examples. For example, like if you are living some colony or some kind of area, so if some thieves are coming and knocking to your door and saying that we are coming for some info, taking some information, and they with by this method they will start to steal your home and something rob in try to do some robbery in your home. Second day they will go to another home, use the same pattern. After that, and third day they will go to another home, and after that they will use the same pattern. And for the fourth when they will try to do the same activity in the fourth house, so that police know this pattern and they will announce to the colony that yeah, this is the same pattern, these are the same activities happening into this area, so please aware with this and protect yourself. So this is some kind of behavior analysis, that is some kind of complete analysis that our firewall doing with the help of engine zero functionality, and it will learn and it will give you the complete protection. So this is what our unique thing, this is what is the unique thing in Sangfor firewall. Okay, if we discuss how we are going to deploy our Sangfor firewall in your environment, so there are four methods. It is there are four modes: is Sangfor route mode, bridge mode, mix mode, and mirror mode. And means these all modes having a different type of usage. As in, if I can say route mode give you to implement firewall as an into the network edge as a layer 3 device, so that you can able to do the routing functionality, perform the routing functionality. And our firewall support all routing for protocols like REP, GRE, OSPF, static routes, and everything. And you can also implement our firewall in HA mode as a high availability mode. So you can use it as a active and active passive mode to maintain the redundancy of your WAN functionality. Also, you can use it in the bridge mode, so you can install our firewall between the layer 3 of router and layer 2 switches. Between that, it will perform as a bridge, and it will protect your environment until unless it will not do any layer 3 functionality, but it will give you the visibility what is the traffic is bypassing from this firewall, so that you can have the proper functionality, visibility and protection. With respect to the mix mode, you can also implement as a layer 2 and layer 3 functionality, and mirror mode, so that you can have the complete, basically it will not do any functionality of layer 2, layer 3, or not protect, but it will obtain the data from your network. Sangfor Firewall having the feature of VPN, and we are providing three type of VPN, and this is the IPsec VPN, SSL VPN, and Sangfor is having its own proprietary VPN called Sangfor VPN, which is I will explain you later on another slide. So these are the three type of VPN that we are providing. Okay, user authentication. In every organization, if you can see, uh, there are so many staff, though so many assets, so many technical means the devices you will see in your environment. So how can you recognize this is that is your internal staff, internal user, or any guest, something like how, what is the method? So the basically user authentication functionality give you the functionality so that you can identify who is your legal user. So you can register all user if you have Active Directory in your environment, so that you can integrate your Active Directory. So only the authorized user will be going to use your services of your in-house services over and try to go over the internet. So that this is the way, so that you can register only authorized user from your network, so that we can have we have multiple ways, so that you can authenticate by user your internal user by the help of the LDAP, Active Directory, and single sign-on functionality. So we will see later on. Okay, so one more feature again, the bandwidth management. Bandwidth management is a very important, issue. in our organization, in any organization, that the bandwidth which you are using over the WAN, for example, you have a multiple internet connections, some kind of dedicated connection, some kind of shared connections, and over that multiple WANs, you have a different volume of bandwidth for the download and upload of the traffic. So this is something like that. If you are, for example, you have a 100 MB connection, and you have one of the user is consuming all of your bandwidth from the internet, and you have in the meanwhile you have a one video conference of your CEO, but he is not able to perform this video conference because someone else is completely utilizing your own bandwidth. So here you can manage your bandwidth by giving them a priority of the specific by application, by URL, by interface, by source, and by destination. So you can split your means bandwidth by some, for example, if your boss is using Zoom, Teams, such kind of application for the video conferencing, so that you can dedicate bandwidth threshold that you can reserve your 50 Mbps once the any kind of video conferencing established over the Zoom or Teams. So the 50 MB bandwidth is specifically dedicated, either it is utilized or not. So it will be dedicated for this application. So once your CEO will initiate any Zoom meeting, video conferencing, so that he can able to easily perform this video call. So we can, this is the one of the best feature that you will have in our firewall. And we have application means security, content security based on the applications. We have our own database. Over that we you can find more than 10,000 application signatures and application database, so that you can protect any kind of application which is available into the market and utilizable in your inside network, and you want to protect that your internal user don't want to use this application during your official hours, so that you can means deny and disallow of this utilization by applying some rules from the ACL. So these are the actual way that how we are also providing the mail protection and the content security. We have the mail protection functionality, URL protection functionality, and the file protection functionality. In terms of that, for example, if your emails and internal user are using email, because it's a very common thing that every organization and in their organization, the users are commonly using the email transportation to sending emails and receiving emails. So in that emails, you will see some attachments, and might be the phishing is the most common parameter and process to penetrate into your network and exploit, because our most of the internal user are not that smart technical, so that they don't means know how to use that, how to means find the risk, and what are the potential email which is which is having some phishing email, what are the emails down attachment is having some kind of risk or risky or something like that. They are not much technical, they are all are the layman, so they do not know. So by some mistake they can open such kind of email attachment, and by that they will, their end user will get effect, and after that it will the file, what are the phishing file having some kind of worm and some kind of virus, some kind of vulnerability, create vulnerability and propagate into your network to the other system and to the server side as well. So our firewall will give you the email protection, so that it will scan your all attachments and will give you the proper visibility that what are the emails are coming inside to their network or sending from inside to the outside. So it will scan your all emails and their attachment, so that it will protect you from the phishing email method. And You can see the URL filtering. By that, the some methods that you are visiting some I think malicious websites, so that it will give you the protection from that. And if you are having some website where there are some procedures like you are posting something. Posting means inserting some data and fetching something, so that will also then be controlled by this. Even that, if you are it's some kind of DLP feature, I can say. For example, if you are downloading some file from the internet, for example, you have the multiple users in your organization and you want to restrict them to download from the specific website, a specific FTP or some kind of internet, any place from the internet you want to protect, and you want to stop them to upload some data from your inside of the network, so you can perform this activity as well. We have the potential to protect the DDoS attack. DDoS attack is some kind of attack by which this attack can send multiple requests at the same time, and it is something like a create flood of communication to your some specific network appliance or in your whole network, so that your network and your this application, your end user will become unavailable, because the request it is sending over the network, over from the WAN, or generating into inside of the network. It is to like some kind of broadcast that is generating from some specific source to your business application. So that will become more effective attack, so that your all it will consume all of your resources and make your assets unavailable. So this kind of attack, DOS and DDoS attack, our firewall is going to protect with some their protection facility in it. There are some these are some resistant threats, and it will impact like the infected viruses and trojans that will attempt to go to breach your PC and communicate, and they will reside inside your PC, and they will start to command and control to your it will basically, there are some botnets, so they will reside into your some they will come into and sit in your PC or some endpoint as a laptop, and they will start to propagate into your network. So they will just do nothing, just sit in your PC in some directory of the PC and laptop, and they will start to just analyze what is the more vulnerable area of your network, any other PC, any other server, any other device. By that they can propagate to or your network and your infrastructure, your any other PC, any other server. So basically, these are the anti-persistent threats. So how we are having a proper database in our firewall, and this database having a multiple means we have there are malwares signatures and in the world. We have the different varieties like Trojan, adware, malware, spyware, backdoors, worm, exploits, hacking tools. More than 4 lakh signatures we have in our firewall database, so that you can any kind of new variant you will see, and the old variants which are coming to attack into your network, so it can be able to protect. Sandboxing is another feature. We have the functionality to see the behavior analysis if anything is finding suspicious into the network, so that it can perform the sandbox detection process. So it will do the complete analysis and generate the security rules to protect the new variant, and anything, any modification is happening in your registry, and any file system modification is happening in your system which is not done by the end user, any kind of automated something is happening into your network or system and an end user endpoint. So it will do the sandboxing procedure, and it will generate some security rules according to protecting the endpoints. We have the intrusion prevention system. Intrusion prevention system is something like that. For example, whatever the data is transporting from your WAN side to your network inside LAN side. So all the traffic which is coming, it is the IPS is the way IPS use a way to protect your all the traffic for getting vulnerable, and it will see and it will scan, it will analyze all the traffic which is coming from outside, so that it will remove the vulnerability from that network and give you the filtered traffic and to your end user. So there are some, we will see in our next slide how the IPS function will perform and their protection process, and how it will implement their protection features in our firewall. As I said, we have WAF, Web Application Firewall in our Sangfor Firewall. And this is something like that. If you have any business applications and web applications that is available in your network, which is for example, you are running any e-commerce website, any portal in your in-house network that is published over the internet. So it is open to your WAN. So the all the attackers which are trying to and using some new techniques and finding new methods to find such kind of open servers and appliances and the business application which are published over the network. So they make the target and start to attack and make them vulnerable and try to exploit and means demolish this kind of services. So we have some protection methods. So we are able to protect you from the SQL injection, as XSS attacks, Trojan horse, website scanning, and web shells, CSRF, and OS command injection, file inclusion, path traversals. These are the methods that commonly used in the globally by the attackers, so that they can affect your internal application. So we can also use the application hiding method. For example, if you are using some application in your internal DMZ or internal environment. So from the outside of your network, is someone going to access your application, there are some packet transmission method which is come into the process initiate, and that is something like the shaken process and more process that is able to. So by this under this process, when the packet is transmitted towards the requester, so this packet will contain more information like the handshaking, there's the versions, there's version information, or more the end user information, application subject information, on which platform the application is built on the SQL or database information. Most of the information that is containing from the packet, so that is easily can be readable from outside of the WAN if your application is not protected. So this is what our application hiding method is doing inside of the firewall. It will protect your packet or remove the all the necessary information which can be the helpful for the attacker. So it will remove all that information and insert the fake information instead of that. Password protection we have, for example, if your servers or internal network, your web application having means weak password and able to break the password by the brute force attack. So we can identify and we can highlight this thing that your internal asset having a weak password, and we will see any kind of brute force attack is happening against from the WAN, so we can able to stop this. Privilege control, and for example, if you are having a malicious file to upload, so you have some kind of authentication required, and it kind of OTP it will put send by the means application generate one OTP, so that it will authorize will recognize this is the authorized user, so that is only able to protect your file. DLP, data leak prevention. DLP is a function so that you are protecting your inside a business server application, any host from the inside of the network, so that any kind of someone is trying to steal and data from your that asset, so that you can protect and stop by implementing the DLP functionality, so that it will be protecting your asset to do not upload any kind of data from inside to your network to the outside. So there is some file extension you can able to insert into that, and any type of file, any type of services that you can think you can want to protect from the data transmission, you can do it. So this is what I already discussed. These are the methods by which our firewall can protect your internal servers. Okay. This is something was unique in our firewall. For example, if I can say, uh, we have in any environment, if you can see, Sangfor has some uniqueness in this. If you are using any product trying to protect your environment, so you use different flavor of firewall of other brand. For example, you are using Fortinet and Palo Alto and Cisco Firepower. You are installing these kind of firewalls in your edge, and you are using your endpoint security and the antivirus as a Trend Micro, Kaspersky, and all that. So you have a mix match flavors, and they all brands have their different way of protection methods, so that they are using, and they are using your internet services to communicate their cloud and all that. So fire in terms of Sangfor is providing you the one window solution, and we have our own brand firewall, and we have our own brand endpoint security. And by this there is a one method we can correlation, so that the both get will synchronize with each other, and they will perform as a one entity, and they will protect your end-to-end solution. They will extend the security parameters to give you the extensive protection from any kind of risk, any kind of vulnerability, exploits, any kind of, you can say, which is the unknown or known threats is available in the market. It will prevent and protect, and give that and take the preventive actions to save your environment. And we have a wide range of monitoring of the environment features. Like we have the logging option, we can have the able to see and generate the security logs, access logs, system logs, and sessions, how many sessions is created right now. You can see the statics, you can see the reports, you have the diagnostics functionality over that. You can troubleshoot and do some kind of traces. You can see the source base means troubleshooting, diagnostics, many things that you can able to see. And you can even you have the deep logging options in our firewalls. Okay, so as I said, we have our firewall. Basically, I have my live demo with me as well, so that I will give you the complete, the live demonstration of the firewall interface as well. But before that, I will take you to the initial configuration when you will buy a box of the firewall with us. Any model, we have a lot of models depending on your requirement. We will suggest either firewall models. And once you will procure firewall, so you have to install it. The way how you will install it, we will now see here. So every firewall having multiple interfaces, and we have a different type of firewalls. In that we have the number of it will size according to the your requirement, and the interfaces according to it. We have Ethernet interfaces in firewalls. We have fiber interfaces in our firewall, so that according to the your traffic rate you can means size your firewall. Okay, so we have basically when you are going to install firewall, there's one interface which we can consider as a management interface. Okay, by from the management interface, management interface having some accessible by default assigned IPs. By that you can connect your laptop and device, so that you can able to access by that IP, and by that you can use by default user ID and password, and you can access. So this is some kind of interface we have of our firewall when you are able to access by using the IP address. So our by default accessing IP address is 10.251.251.251/24 as a prefix, is a subnet mask, and Ethernet 0 basically is our management interface in our firewall. And the what is the user ID password in the initial. By default we have admin is our user ID and password, so that by that you can able to access this firewall. And you can you have to insert the characters which is the mentioned in the right side. So after putting the user ID password, you need to just input this character to for the verification that you are the human or not. So basically, the IP which I said already is by default assigned to the Ethernet 0, which is our management interface, which is unable to change. And over that you can make it as an utilizable interface by assigning another IP address which you are trying to make it. So here you can assign another IP if you want to use this management interface by any purpose, by making it a LAN or WAN, so you can use it. Okay, this is routing interface. For example, we have if any kind of model. So right now I have a 1050 model of the NSF. So in this NSF we have 8 interfaces of Ethernet, and two fiber interfaces, one console interface, and one management interface. So for example, once you will buy any firewall, so you have to decide that how many WAN interface you have in your network, and which interfaces you want to create as a LAN segment. So, and also you need to decide in by which mode you have to deploy your firewall in your environment. So once you are going to install your firewall in a router mode. So in a router mode, your firewall going to be installed on the edge of your network. Means all the WAN links will going to terminate on your firewall, and then your firewall make the LAN infrastructure. So you will have the two segment of your WAN segment and LAN segment. So it is something like we have to select your interface as a layer 3 type, and then you need to select the attribute, basic attribute as a WAN attribute. Reverse routing, if you want to select, so you can select by the bandwidth management for the audit purpose. And if you are using multiple IPs link scenario to keep the inbound and outbound traffic going, the same in one interface. Here you can assign the IP address of the IP address here as a what are the usable IP address. One of them IP address you can assign on this, and then the gateway. And this is the bandwidth. For example, if you are having a multiple WAN and having a different volume of bandwidth you have having on the different interfaces, so you can assign if your one interface is having a 200 Mbps, so you can define here your because there are multiple type of WAN connection, like the dedicated connection having a similar um, inbound and outbound volume of, for example, if you are using dedicated connection, so your 100 MB is our inbound counter and inbound speed, and outbound speed is 100 Mbps. And if you are having a shared connection, so shared connection is a 1/4 is your inbound download speed, and the 25% of the total connection will be your outbound speed. So here you can define the bandwidth, and if you want to use the jumbo framing option and your firewall for the WAN, that to enable it, you can enable the jumbo framing so that you can set the MTU size as well. Okay, for example, if you have a different type of WAN connection, for example, you have a PPOE connection in your over the WAN, service provider is providing you the internet connection over the PPOE, so you can able to configure it. You can just need to select the PPOE option, then you have to insert the user ID password, which is given by your service provider, and you can also manage to means you can set the maximum attempts, timeout, handshake number, second in the version of the seconds. You can select and start utilizing the PPE connection. Bridge interface, by the name of the bridge, you can consider it is a layer 2 protocol which is not having any capability of the layer 3, which is don't allow you to do the any routing functionality, because it is something like you are installing this firewall in the middle layer, in between your router, which is installed over the WAN, and you're installing a bit above the your distribution layer or your access layer. It will depend how your network infrastructure topology is designed. So by this, you are installing and you are selecting layer 2 interface as an for both interfaces. You can use as a layer 2 and select as a WAN attribute. And you can because this will become your access port, so you need to select the access port as an, or either if you are using a multiple VLAN, so that you can use it as a trunk as well. So all the traffic will bypass from the firewall in this bridge interface, bridge deployment mode, and all the traffic will be analyzed and protected as well. Even then you can enable the jumbo framing, and here you can provide the MTU size, and either it can be 1500, 1600, whatever will be the MTU size you want to set it, you can set here. Okay, virtual wire interface. Virtual wire interface is some kind of interface in which you can pair one more than two interfaces or two interfaces, so that it can basically club the interface. It will make a pair of this interface. You cannot assign any IP, and you cannot do any routing and data transmission. It can not even refer to any MAC addresses. So basically it is just something interface that can have the read the information and utilize to forward the data traffic from your internal network to your firewall, and it will give you the more better performance than the bridge interface. See here, we just pair these two interface in this virtual wire mode. Mirror mode basically, in the mirror mode, we can create some interface or an interface as a mirror interface. So for example, if you are installing our firewall in your network just to get the logs, okay? So all the traffic which is going towards any direction, it will also through and submit to this interface, so that it will collect all of your data from inside of the network and process it, and it will give you the analytical reports, and it will give you the notifications if there's any something is happening. So basically for the purpose of the reporting analysis, this mirror interface can be created, and by that method you can analyze your internal traffic. You need to select a zone. We will see later what are the zones and why we are creating the zones. Here you can select the networks objects as a network was which we will see there is some objects you need to create. And that, for example, if I say what are the network objects are the source and the destination you define, and into your network, which is some kind of endpoints, end users, network subnets, network segments, servers group, and more means it will give you the functionality how at the granular level you can use some segments to implement the policies and the functionalities of the firewall. Aggregated interface is something like you are using multiple interface into your logical interface to perform the load balancing and failover kind of functionality into the interfaces. You can able to club up to the maximum 16 ports. For example, if you are having means, for example, you want to club the bandwidth of the two interfaces. For example, you are having a two 11G interfaces, four 11G interfaces, and you want to club two interfaces together and make the bandwidth availability of the 2 GB. So by this method, as aggregated interface, you can accumulate, you can get this functionality, and even you can perform this as a failover solution. For example, if you are having the connectivity between two interfaces, or having face any challenge of the disconnectivity of under the one port, so the another alternate port is can be able in and perform an active perform come into the active mode, and it will perform the start to do the transmission. So basically it will perform the load balancing functionality and standby mode, and the link aggregation protocol itself, it can be utilized over here. Sub interfaces. So sub interfaces is a logical interface of the physical interface. Okay, you can basically having a one physical interface, and you want the same interface to utilize as a VLAN for the VLAN interface. So you can create one logical interface as a sub interface and assign this logical interface as a gateway for the specific VLAN. That is the purpose of the sub interface. Okay, VLAN interface, we know what are the VLANs, and VLAN interface is something if you have a multiple segmentation and you are having a VLANs in your infrastructure, so you can create the VLANs and assign as a VLAN interface. GRE tunnel, if you are having a VLAN, IPsec VLAN and branch connectivity, and you have some routes to propagate over that. So you can use a GRE tunnel, you can create the GRE tunnel interface so that over the IPsec and over any routing protocol you can use and for the route propagations. So you can use the public IP address for a branch where you having another tunnel destination. So you have to have this IP over the public IP address of the both source and destination. You can create the GR tunnel. Okay, zone. What are the zones? Zones are something like we are managing our directions, traffic directions. For example, you have WAN interfaces, you have multiple WAN interfaces, more than one interface of the WAN, you have a LAN segment, you have a DMZ segment. If you have another entity which is a different running over the different subnets, so you want to create zone to manage the policy implementation and segregation of your asset and your elements that you are designed in your network infrastructure. So you can segregate your WAN segment in a one zone by assigning some interfaces. For example, you need to assign your interfaces which is considered as a WAN interface. You can assign into the one zone, and you are able to assign your Ethernet of the LAN port, you can assign it to the different zone, and after that, inside to that zone, you can create more zones to assigning different kind of groups, and so that policy and the feature set of the prevention and protection can be implemented according to the policy. You can assign multiple interfaces and categorizes into the multiple zones. Routing. We are every firewall having a routing features, and same likely we are having the routing feature, the simple routing feature as static route. Okay, one more thing, and once previously I just missed to define here the IP address when you are assigning to the routing interface. Okay. So once you are trying to assign the routing IP address or any network address on your routing interface. So once you are assigning into the bottom, you can see there is a one option is automatically available in our firewall that it will create the default gateway. So once you want your internal network LAN and segment want to go over the WAN, so you need to define some route. What is the default route? Where your end destination gateway from where your internal traffic will go outside towards the WAN. So that is required by adding the default route. Once in our firewall, you don't need to create it separately. Once you are going to creating and assigning IP over the network interface, it will automatically create the uh, static default route. After that, if you want to do the any kind of static routing, if you have another network segments and you are having a different VLANs, different network subnets in your isolated from the local LAN, so you can define the static route over here. You can provide the destination network next hop, who is the next hop and interface you can select by finding the specific interface from where you want your traffic will propagate by using which interface out to the another network. Okay, reliability can be seen and can be checked by the link state, for example, if you want to check it's reachable. So by you here, you can assign the link state functionality so that it will ask you one source or destination IP from where it will trigger and it will start to find out and start one packet initiate it will call as a ping so that it continuously try to reach your that destination and check it is actively available or not. If it is not available, it will consider the destination is not reachable. So this will not work as a static route. So in that way, here we can see and we can use the static route functionality. So we can assign this and use the static routing. Policy-based routing. I hope you guys are aware with the policy-based routing. Policy-based routing is some kind of implementation we can use where we have a multiple WAN links. Okay. For example, you have a scenario in your environment where you have a multiple WAN or multiple, segmentation, and you want to distribute your internal network transmission by using different WAN. For example, you want some users to use WAN number one for HTTP traffic, and your some of you and you want you to use your internal user to use WAN 2 for your email functionality and other business application. So these are the requirement and the case study you will see in different kind of organization, and they will use they will use multiple WAN connection for the redundancy as well. So in terms of kind of failure, if you rely on one man internet connection, so in terms of failure, you will have the downtime to access over the internet. If you have any cloud-based means servers or something like that, so you are without internet, you cannot access these applications. So for that, we mostly use two WAN connections and more than one internet connections. And due to that, balancing the data traffic over the WAN, we can use the policy-based routing by manipulating the traffic according to the utilization. So we can, by this policy-based routing, we can manipulate the data between different kind of WAN, and also we can use this policy-based routing as a load balancing. For example, if you are having two WANs having a bandwidth of 100 MB of WAN 1 and 100 MB of WAN 2, so you can club this bandwidth and you can use this bandwidth as a 200 capacity, right? So this is the load balancing functionality, and you can also do the segregation of the traffic according to the base of applications. For example, you want to use some for example, if you are using Teams, Zoom, any, for example, you are some kind of creative company, and you want to, use the downloading and torrent or some kind of functionality you are end users are doing in your inside of the network. So you can segregate by the Sangfor itself having that database of the application. By from there you can choose the specific application and build the specific PBR for the specific application, so that this application can only use this WAN interface. Because sometimes some users start to download from the torrent or some any other source, for example exe files and some ISO files and all that. So that what happened when they start to download without this kind of PBR and allocation of the proper routing functionality, they consume all of your bandwidth. So this is the way, so you can prevent your end user, so it will only use a specific WAN by the help of implementation of the PBR. So they can use a specific WAN for the traffic of such kind of applications. So by this, from the general setting, you just need to enable this functionality, so that you can allow the policy-based routing for the applications. By default, it is not enabled, so that you can need to go and do the enablement from this area. Here you can see how the policy-based routing can be means like you can implement here. So from the network segment, I will show you and I will start to demonstrate this functionality over the live our firewall interface. So you will go to the route feature. In the route feature, you will see the policy based routing. Here you can select and go to the add functionality and use the implementation. So here you can use the source zone source address, and then the specific ISP over from which source resource means which application and which use services you want to divert from the which interface. So here you can select the outbound interface, specifying by the port. Here you can specify the port which by which outbound port will use to go outside. Link load balancing functionality, we have the multiple methods. See, every link load balancing for having a different kind of algorithms, by that it is going to means achieves the load balancing functionality. So we have different function means algorithm like round robin and bandwidth ratio, round robin with the bandwidth ratio round robin, weighted least traffic, and the preferred link on the top. These are the four algorithms we are using here in our firewall for the bandwidth load balancing. And you can see here in the outbound interface, you can select multiple interfaces of the WAN on that you are going to implement the link load balancing. And from here, you can choose the method which algorithm you are going to implement. In the same means the dashboard, you will see under this routing feature, you will see the all routes. Here you will see the all routes that you are created as a default route. You will see here, you can see the static route, local routes. What are the routes that you are receiving and you already created here? You will going to see in this specific all route page. You can test the routing functionality. Okay. If you want to see the reachability, once you will created the route and see the functionality as in the reachability, you can test by this routing test function in our firewall. You will just put the destination of any either WAN or any source or destination. So according to that, it will just like a trace. So it will show you the what is the next hop and which interface it is using to go outside. Okay. Netting is a very most common option in every firewall or router. So we also providing this functionality so that if you having WAN connections, we have the two type of the IP addresses. First is public IP addresses and the private IP addresses. There are some different type of classes, class A, B, C in private classes, and there are some public IP addresses. Public IP addresses is the IP addresses which are globally accessible, and our local IP addresses, which is I'm saying about like class ABC like 192.168, which is having a /24 prefix, and we have a 172 and 10.0.0. These are the classes. We have different type of in our topologies, used in our different type of topologies, and they have a different type of usable IP range, where we do the subnetting and all that. So we see that our private IP addresses cannot be able to access from the WAN side, and they cannot propagate over the WAN side because there are only public IP address which are accessible from the WAN. So what we need to do, we need to do the network address translation between these public IP addresses and the local IP addresses so that they can utilize your public IP addresses to go over the internet and bring your requested whatever you want to do over the internet. So for that, we are using netting. And also we do the source net. If you want to do the means do the process of from the inside to the outside of the, you want to transmit your traffic from inside to the outside, so you can use the source net. And if you want to do the destination net, for example, you have a multiple live IP addresses and you have internal applications and servers that you want to give the access over the internet by using any kind of IP addresses. So you can map this live IP address with your server local IP addresses so that by this direct destination network address translation, your local server will be able to access over the internet by using this specific destination DNet. You can use and also assign the port base. And as I said, the source net is something when the private IP address access towards the public address internet. This for that we are using the source net, and it should be in the firewall into the router mode and as a gateway, so that it will allow your internal user to access over the internet. And as I said, destination is not something like if you are having local application and local something which is not able to access over the public, so that it will allow over using the external network and public IP to map this IP with your internal source, and you can able to access. And bidirectional is something like both side direction, so you can allow your vice versa traffic between from the live IP to it can be accessible to your LAN addresses and LAN to the public addresses. Okay, for example, still date we are able to use because we have the two variants of the IP addresses as version 4 and version 6. Version 4 are most commonly we are using in our environment, but now we are some of the appliances and most of the networks are moving towards the IPv6. So we are having a capability to do the IPv6 network address translation as well. Okay, so before moving towards the this more security point of segment where we can be able to do the security implementation, ACS and all that, I would like to just give you some kind of overview of some feature sets of our firewall.
Right, Farooq. I think before proceeding further, let's take a quick 10 minutes break actually, and
Okay,
let's resume our session at 3 p.m. Again, inshallah. Okay.
okay,
Okay.
that's perfect. Guys,
And
we
to
are
the
going to
audience,
take a
actually, if you have any queries, you can drop a message in the chat box, and we'll inshallah resume the session at 3 p.m. Thank you.
okay.
Great. So, okay, ladies and gentlemen, we'll proceed with the second half of our firewall training session. During the first half, we actually had a discussion on the theoretical concepts of the core features of the firewall, the architecture, and what kind of features are there actually. In the second half, we will be jumping right into the interface. We'll have a thorough walkthrough of the interface and how actually we discussed these features, how easy and convenient it is to configure them. So over to Farooq, you can start with the interface overview.
Okay, guys. Everyone, can you hear me?
Yes, Farooq, you're right. Audible.
Okay. Okay. So as I said before, see, you can see in my URL, 10.251.251.251 is the default IP address. If you are buying a new box, you will can access this firewall with this default IP address. Admin will be your user ID and password, and here you will need to put this captcha, which is some kind of authentication process that it will identify either you are a human or a bot. Okay, guys, see, this is our firewall dashboard. In our firewall dashboard, you will see some kind of information and some kind of information here. It is available to see on what is going on in your environment on the real-time basis, and it will give you the visibility of the events and all that. That will I will come back later to in the monitoring section. That at that time I will describe you the all functionality of and the feature sets of this monitoring and dashboard. So we are going to initiate the configuration segment. So here you will see the network tab. In the network tab, you will see the interfaces. Interfaces here are the physical interfaces. You will see the all of your interfaces, which is containing in your firewall, depending on the models. And here you can see this is the OEM out of band management interface, and this interface is having a default IP address. These are the another all interfaces. So for example, I will take one interface, and this is the interface. You can name it as a WAN or LAN. It depends on your topology, what topology you are going to assign. According to that, you will create the interface. And here you will select the type and the mode of the interface, which type and mode you want to assign it as a layer 3, layer 2, virtual wire, as a mirror interface. If you are creating a WAN interface, so here you need to select the this option so that it will be become a WAN as a WAN attribute. By here, you can assign the IP addresses, the interface, and the default gateway. You can assign here. And here you can see this MTU size, the jumbo framing. If you having any kind of requirement like that in your environment, so you can enable it as a jumbo framing, and you can set the MTU size as well. By default, it is on the 1500 MTU. And these are the option if you want you to access your firewall from the WAN side to so you can enable it over here as a it will allow you to access from the WAN as well. It will give you the GUI interface over the WAN, and it can be able to allow you to ping on this interface, and SNMP it will allow you on this interface, and same as this goes with SSH. And these are the IP bandwidth you can assign here. And from this segment, you can assign bandwidth. So these are the sub interface. Here you can assign and create the sub interface. Okay, by here you can assign which for which VLAN you are using this as a sub interfaces by assigning IP addresses and selecting zone and all that. VLAN interface. Here you can create VLANs up to 1 to 124094. These are the range that you can define as a VLAN, and where you can select the zone, again IP addresses and all that information, which is the mandatory required to create any interface. So you can assign here and move. Virtual interface, same method. It once you will create any interfaces as sub interfaces and VLAN interfaces, it will reflect here as a virtual interfaces. Aggregated interface, same again. This is the method from where you can create a LSC billing aggregation protocol use. Then you can create aggregation of the interfaces, multiple interfaces, and you can select the, for example, you are want to select two interfaces in this aggregation. So here you can assign name and select interface and provide the mode, in which mode you are creating as a load balancing, the hash mode and the active passive mode, and all kind of mode you are performing in this activity you can assign, or either it you are using in your local environment, so don't you need to select as a WAN attribute. But if you are using over the WAN, any service provider is giving you the multiple interface LAN connectivities, so that you can use it. Loopback interface, GRE tunnel. Here you can create the GRE tunnel by assigning the number and IP address and the source and the destination live IP address here. And by here you can set the MTU size and the keep live messaging, so that it will just recognize frequently about the tunnel is active or not. Okay. From here you saw that all the interfaces type and their configuration. Here as we mentioned, zones. These are the areas where you can create zone and assign the interfaces onto that zone. So once you are creating any policy, you need to define the direction via zones. So here you can define all the zones here. You can create new. By default, you will see some by default zone into this firewall. But even if you want to create more zones, you can create here. And once you can also create where you are creating any assigning any IP to zone interface. Here you can from here you can add zone as well. So this interface will directly be a part of that zone. Here are the route functionality. From here you can create the static route. Just you need to provide the source and destination networks, and you can define the administrative distance and the metric, and for the reliability detection, you can create the link state, any source and destination IP that you can assign here, and it will automatically trace it, and it will check by this link state it is active or not. Here, I said I already created one WAN policy-based routing. Here for the specification of two multiple WAN C, if you can see here, I use multiple WAN interfaces. These are my ports, which is considered as an WAN links. I club all the WAN links here. Here, I just want to select my LAN segment in a source zone, and which addresses. Either I want to have a specific network segment, so I can add as an object here and define the specific user server group, VLAN segment, and any other IP segmentation we can assign, then define here for the specific type of traffic as a source, and any kind of services you want as the services that you want to allow to use this specific service to go outside, or you can allow any protocol to go outside. And here you can select the network object I said. Okay, so by that you can create this bandwidth load balancing, and here you can find the method and of algorithm that we are applying to do the load balancing over the WAN. So round robin you can select, select the weighted least traffic, bandwidth round robin, and preferred on top. Preferred on top is something like that. Whatever in this list, whoever be available in the top will be used as a primary. Okay. So here you can use as a source based. Okay. So you can assign any kind of a specific source as a traffic selection. By selection of the WAN, it will route your traffic, or you can use it as a link load balancing. Okay, here after creating a route and after connected with the other routes, you will see the all of the route of your firewall and adjacent connected networks. You will reflect here. Here you will see the route testing functionality. If you want to check the reachability of the any network and troubleshoot it, you can do by here. You just need to provide the source IP of any of your network segment and the destination IP, and select the interface and start the testing. So these are the basically network implementation by interface and defining a zone and the route. So after this, your communication will be started between the networks of the WAN and LAN zone. Here is the DNS. Okay, for example, if you have any preferred DNS to utilize, if you have any preferred inside you are created any DNS server uh, to basically resolve your IP to name, and any destination of the network you want to resolve it by your internal defined server. So you can assign the IP address of your internal DNS server or any other DNS server, like you want to use a public Google DNS server, so you can define the DNS IP. So whatever the request is coming towards your firewall to resolve their IPs over with the names. So it will go to that specific DNS server to get the resolution of that specific IP. Okay, this is the DNS transparent. We also, our firewall support the transparent DNS proxy. Here is the DSCP. We can create the DSCP server here specific to the any interface or VLAN. You can assign for that. You can create the DNS. You can just select the interface. Once you will have the any VLAN interface, you will see the VLAN interface as well here. You can assign the range and the gateway and the DNS. These are the optional information that you need to assign. You can create the IPv6 based DSCP as well. From here, you can see once you will create and do the DNS propagation, then you will see here which users are getting the DNS IP, IP address from the DHCP. Okay, this is the ARP. I will show you the ARP spoofing. For example, if you are having connectivity of the multiple network segmentation in your in-house, for example any users, and multiple a single user having a multiple ARP and getting the IP and MAC addresses, the ARP spoofing function is here, so that it will stop and prevent any fake ARP which are generating in your network. It will stop and their broadcast. Okay, these are the specific VPN functionalities, features. I will come here later, but before that, I would like to show some the security functionality. Okay, so according to go the process by process and step by step, we see the was once we installed any new firewall, so we need to set up the interfaces, zones, routes, DNS functionality. So these are the basic initial steps to configure any firewall. After that, what is the next step? Next step to start the communication, we need to define the source net for the communication from the private IP addresses, private subnets to over the internet. So here we are going to build our net From here, we are going to, as I said, we have a different type of functionality: source net, destination net, and vice versa, bidirectional net. So here you can create your net. See here on the top, you can select the type: source net, destination net, and bidirectional net. Okay, and you can define the zone. For example, your source will be LAN zone, and which specific, for example, you have a different type of segments of networks. Okay, and you for example, you have different VLANs and different network segment, or specific segment subnet you do want to subnet net with the WAN. So you need to select a specific, or you can select all. And if you want to specify some specific objects, so you can add from this segment as well. Okay, you can define the specific subnet and IP addresses, specific group, and a specific pool from here. You can select all. Okay, so you can net over the zone and interface by selecting, for example, if you want to select the destination zone, you can select the WAN, any LAN interface, then you can select the WAN zone, select all networks. Okay, and you can see here you want to specify, for example, there are multiple methods of the netting, something like the IP to IP, IP to many, single to single. So you can use by the method, either you can define the source as an interface or destination specific IPs. So once you will do so, you can start the netting functionality. Here is the destination net. If you have a public IP source and the local IP, so you can define your internal server which you want to publish over the internet, and the source IP of the public IP address you can define here, so that you can map your local server with your public IP address. Okay, so this is the initial step. By this configuration, you can configure your firewall for the basic initial communication. Okay, now we are moving towards how we can secure our all network segments. So we created network segments. Now we are moving towards the security parameters that we need, the features that we are going to implement. By that, we are going to secure our internal environment. So the basic functionality in every firewall, we can see the ACLs, access control list. You can see in the tab of policy, you will see the access control, and here you can see the application control function. Here is the add option. You can add and you can create a new policy. We can create a test policy, and we can see here is a zone. Zone, again, we segmentize our network and define the network interfaces into that zone by defining the LAN and WAN segment. So here we can see we have our LAN segment. Okay, so we are creating one policy to stop some traffic from inside, just like email and unauthorized, only just we will going to authorize only specific traffic and deny all other rest of the topic traffic. So here we selected all interfaces. And then if you are, as I already mentioned, that we have a user authentication segment here. If you are already added any Active Directory or you created any Radius server, by that you can select only the authorized users and or a specific user or a group of user on that you want to implement that specific policy. So you can select here. So by default, by this, we are selecting everything. And we are selecting the destination zone. Destination zone will be our WAN area. It can be vary according to your network zoning. If you have the policy, you are creating policy for LAN to the DMZ, where you are having a business application server. So you want to restrict a specific user to access your business application. You can select according to that specific requirement of your business. You can select the zone and as a destination. Okay, now here you can select the destination IP by specifying, distinguishing the source or a destination by the IP address. You can define the specific pool or range of the IP address or IP segment, network segment. Here you can add, or you can select here, which is you already added. Like we already added Ola network, so that we have the specific range here. By that, we can specifically apply this rule to this specific IP range. By default, I'm just selecting all. Okay. Here you can select the specific services as a port. For example, you don't want to implement policy on the specific protocol. So these are the predefined protocol which is in our listed on our database. You can select or implement according to the specific, and by default it is selected to any all protocol. This is so called become an any policy. Okay. Specific to the any policy, we are allowing every protocol or denying any protocol, but we need to specify any specific application. As I said earlier, we have the database of more than 10,000 applications. Okay, we have the signatures of more than 10,000 application that you can restrict and allow according to your policy implementation. So here we have the DNS functions, we have the websites, mail functionality, application based, more general. You can see more like here, you can see the Gmail. If you want to specifically allow, don't allow the specific torrent based application, stop and restrict internal user download tools you want to restrict. You can select specifically here, file transmissions. This is are the applications. So many social applications there are. You can see the Facebook, blog, and everything. Means you name it, you can have such kind of transmission. You can use stop and block because you see, if you are having any user in your environment is using the torrent in the backend, if you can see the download when complete, so it will be, and from the backend you will see the data transmission is happening for the seeding of the another user is downloading this file from your laptop, because it's allowed to seed for the another available user over the network, over the WAN. So you don't know these applications are the bandwidth hungry, so you can restrict from your internal LAN, so that you can allow implement any policy of denying. Games, we have a multiple, for example, if your user are from internally, you want to stop them for allowing using the game and the Facebook application. Okay, it is only not restricted to the end user which is using a laptop. It can also be restrict your mobile users as well. Okay, so these are the applications database we have, and you can choose and select any kind of application and implement the policy of allow and deny accordingly. Okay, so you can create many type of policy according to your topology for the specific user, specific IP address, specific zone, specific according to the application, specific to the protocol. So you can create any policy and apply the function of allow and deny, and you can save it, so it will started to function. Okay. Okay, there is another function of geolocation blocking. For example, if you're having a multiple WAN in your network, and we having a over the WAN or untrusted zone, we have a lot of destination going towards your routes are going over the different countries. Okay, if you are accessing Facebook server, so your last mile or your last hop, if you can do the trace route, so it will show you your packet is floating and going towards your destination by different countries or different hops. Okay, so this is something like that. If you don't allow, if your government is having restriction to don't allow your internet traffic to go towards to the specific country, so by that this function global geolocation blocking, you can do the source IP, take the source IP of your internal network and select the WAN zone and specify the country. Okay, specify the country, select any region, any country, so that your all traffic which is propagating from your internal network will not allow this. It will see your destination is residing in this specific defined country, so it will take an action according to your criteria, what you cited here as a allowed or denied. If you allow, so it will allow to the traffic to go via this country specifications, and if you are denied, so it will not allow to go traffic from your internal network to the WAN by using this deny function. So it will restrict your internal traffic to go via this region routes and path. Connection control. Okay. Connection control, if you want any specific user internally or externally, or users outside of the network, from the untrusted network to the trusted network, you have any business application server, something like that, and you want to restrict to maintain only a specific number of concurrent connections. Okay. For example, you have any e-commerce web application or some kind of portal business application which is publicly accessible, and publicly a number of anyone can access from the internet. So you can see that some anonymous activity, that some IP address is maintaining an uncountable session over your server. For example, if someone user is coming to use your services, so it will do the specific process or feature. It will use a specific feature, and then after that, it will disconnect the session. But some IPs, which is the robots or the automated function, they are created as a robotic functionality, so that they will automatically creating a multiple session. So you can limit by assigning the limit of the count. Here you can define a specific, assign your server name, basically zone, and the address of your server. You can add from here as an object. So your concurrent session is limited to the specific you defined here. So these are the access control functionalities. Okay. Okay. We have the specific policies. Okay. First, I will show you the DDoS attack function. Actually, we have a very limited time, so I'm just giving you the go through of the most big elements. Okay, so if you want to protect your environment with the DDoS attack, so we can create the DDoS protection. We have the functionality of the DDoS protection in our firewall. You can create the DDoS policy here. Here you can define the name and select the zone. And basically what the dyne DNS do, I already informed you that the dyne DNS create the flood. Anonymous sessions it will create into your inside of your network, and it will make your resource unavailable for the accessibility. So basically it will generate the uncounted sessions. So here you can select the functionality, how the firewall can prevent by identifying how can it identify. It can do the IP scanning, and it will can do the port scanning. So here you can define the limit, what is the threshold. So you can define the how much packet per second you can feel it is a normal for your inside application, or whatever your internal asset you can define as a per packet per second threshold, so that it will see if this if any session is created under this threshold, it will allow. And if it is accessing this from this threshold, it will consider as an DDoS attack, and it will prevent and stop according to the action. Okay. So these are the attack protection, means are the types, that UDP flood, DNS flood, ICMP flood. Okay, these are the type of attack we can attacker use to do the DDoS and DOS attack. Here you can define the threshold, because some of the things that we can say that okay 2000 is a by default limit, but you can define 4000 as well, because some kind of application will not consider 4000 up to the 4000 as a DDoS attack, because the more user are doing the connectivity at the same time. And one more thing, you can means enable the log an event and blocking functionality, so that it will also means reserve all the logs over the our logging server. These are the packet-based attack. In advanced function, you can select this type of attack as well, so that this policy will allow you to protect from this type of attacks from occurring over the DDoS and DOS attack. Okay. We have the multiple type of protections for a specific to the surfing over the internet and a specific surfing towards the server. If we have a specific server, like we already said, we have the WAF inside our firewall. So how WAF is working? So we will see here. So we just need to select the zone where from the traffic is coming. If you want to protect any of our server, we are defining name. We need to define the source is our WAN. From the WAN traffic is coming. Any kind of IP it will be. It can be any IP over the WAN. Here is your LAN. We will define the LAN, and we can define any kind of specifier server. We can add any server which we need to protect. We need to protect our all network segment. We need to protect our specific segment. So we can choose and select scenario. Okay, we are using the source based net, so that we can choose the source net or the CDN. Okay. Passive vulnerability functionality. We have specific passive vulnerability. For example, if you are having such kind of weak password function, weak password, if you have in a server, so that it will recognize, it will show, it will protect you from the web shell vulnerability and all this kind of attacks that is exist into the network. It will protect your specified destination which we selected before. Okay, here is the IPS function. Okay, here you can see we can select the template which is all by default available, and we can also create the template by assigning from the objects. I will show you how. By just we can see how we can implement the IPS, so that we can select the template, and we will select the action, either it is allowed or denied. Okay. Content-based filtering, if you have any specific URLs and anti-ransomware that you want to specifically deny for the file download or something like that. So you can select your predefined template of the firewall, and you can process it by the implementing allow or deny. This is the WAF policy that you need to implement. By default is there is an implemented firewall platform WAF implementation policy, and this is all the action that you can process it for allowing and deny. And this is the botnet function. Okay, protection. Here from here you can enable the botnet functionality, that it will stop or allow or deny to the specific botnet attack if it happened in your network. So it will be processed according to your action, allow or deny. So by this, you can implement multiple variety of the attacks that can be possible to exploit your internet network, so that by you can implement by implementing the source and the destination specific area. So now this firewall start to process all this attack defense segment to protect your internal LAN. Okay, this is the internet scenario. Internet scenario is something like that. Your internal user are going towards the internet. So we have to create, okay, first the server-based policies that you are having internal resources, specific critical applications in your internal network, internal assets that you want to protect, or that the users who are coming from the outside of the network or the users who are coming from the inside. So these two-way of the traffic which is from which it will filter and protect your internal server to the any vulnerability or any exploit or any risk. And this policy is to create for the users who are going towards the internet and doing any required any protection, so that from here we can implement. We can create any policy name by test, and you can select the zone as a LAN. Select if you have any user group and specific, again same, we need to select any specific network. Then it will be our WAN zone, and it can be any IP. You cannot even you have any destination specified, you can specify. Okay, these are the intrusion prevention to specify anything that you can protect. By default there is some templates. I will show you where are the in the object area if you are implementing any intrusion prevention and the content security, what are the elements that are encoding in this policy. Okay, but right now you can see the way how we can implement this. So you can select the template which is by default created from the Sangfor in this firewall, and you can assign the action according to the your requirement, allow and deny. And this is again the botnet and the specific IP blocking functionality. If anything that IP is by default by the help of the engine of the AI, if you feel any IP is behaving as a high threat IP address, and it can be it can affect your network sustainability, so it will be considered as a blacklist and it will be blocked automatically. Okay. Okay, we have saying that we have any already policy name is exists, so we can create with another name. Okay, here is the bandwidth management system. Here you can enable it, and you can manage your WAN connections. Okay, and you can limit the bandwidths. Okay, by defining the WAN connections and by selecting the specific application. Okay, so it will dedicate or limit your bandwidth according to the WAN connection specific to the any application which is having in our database, or any URL category. Okay, any URL which is listed in our category, or you can add any custom URL or any file type that you want. That, for example, if anyone is downloading ISO, okay, so you want to restrict the bandwidth to the specific limit specific to that file parameter or extension, you can select that, and you can implement the policy according to the schedulizing and limiting the channel by defining the limit as per the percentage for the inbound and outbound traffic. Okay. Even you can specific by, for example, you have 1,000 number of users, and you want to limit every user need to use only 1 MB or 2 MB or 3 MB or 4 MB specifically, not more than that. So you can specifically define the bandwidth limit here for this all users. So it will automatically, when any user will create any session towards the internet, so it will stop the threshold up to the marked level, and it will not allow to utilize more bandwidth as per the defined. Okay, so here from we can use this bandwidth management function. Okay, for example, I said there is a user authentication means function we have, and we have some capabilities so that you can create users, and you can integrate your Active Directory. From there, you can integrate all your Active Directory users, and you can define and create the groups and users so that it can be authenticate from your internal network. So only the authorized user will be able to use your features and functionalities. You can also export and import your you can import all of the users from any LDAP server by IP scanning or any Excel CSV file you have created. You can download and create the Excel file, and you can import all of the bulk user in a one time. Here you can create the LDAP. You can synchronize if you have any LDAP user in your environment, so you can create over here, and you can create the authentication policy. Okay, if you want any authentication user, so the what is the way, and we have the single sign-on feature as well, and you can authenticate the via IP MAC address, all that functionality you can do it by the authentication function here. Any external authentication server you have in your environment, you can use it here by the Radius server, LDAP server. You can create it and start to do this. Okay, these are the authentication options that you can able to configure. The web SSO radius, once you will integrate your radius and LDAP function, and these are the functionality once your user will come to your firewall. So what is the action it will perform? It will, you can define the page of login page, logout page, what is the parameter after some time if your user not doing anything, so it can be log out. You can perform some kind of actions over here. Okay, this is the object segment. Okay, where you can create multiple objects by users, by grouping them, IP segments and all that. Here are the services. If you have, this is a by default database of our defined protocols. If there is any custom protocol you want to add, so you can add from here. You can any which is not listed and predefined in our list, you can define here. Okay. These are the, this is the most important thing. Okay, security templates. Here are the intrusion prevention templates. If you have any kind of custom, but these are the by default templates, which is defined by the Sangfor by default. Here you can see the endpoint protection. You can select and create any other new template specific to the specific attack you want to protect, from your outside network to inside and inside to internal DMZ. So you can use this select type of attacks. Okay, and create the template according to it. Anti-malware protection, you can see here what are the type of attacks we have: worm, trojan, spyware, backdoors. Okay, semantic web engine tags, so you can define, enable it, and if you have any Java application, if you want to see the to make the protected application, so you can select it from here. Server protection, you can enable it and protect your server by selecting this all type of attack functionality. If you have any IoT in inside of your network, so you can protect your IoT devices by creating this template and selecting this tag type and this method, and you can create the new template as well. Brute force attack, these are the main common methods that are used for the specific internal applications. For example, you have a XAMPP, WordPress, and all that application you are, or your internal users are using inside of your network. So if you want to protect your internal user who are using such kind of application from the brute force attack, so you can enable this in your template, which is defined in by default in the Sangfor database, or you can add as a new template. Okay, so here you can specify that functionality brute force attack, and in the policies you can select and implement according to your template that we created over there. Web application firewall policy. Again, you will see here is the template that we already created one policy in the policy segment, and we defined the default template. In the default template, you can here see, you can define the ports that you want to restrict and protect, or you want to allow to specific server. These are the predefined attack database of our firewall: SQL injection, SS attack, Trojans, website scanning. These are the major common attacks that are attackers use to make it vulnerable in your database or your specific servers and or assets. So that are the specific attack types that you can select and implement in that policy by selecting the template. Here you can enable the option of the application hiding, password protection, so that the any password which is available in your server, it will be protected and it will not visible to the attacker. HTTP request anomalies, scan blockers, anything that is related to the WAF attack, which is we defined in our firewall functionality, you can implement. And here are the more attack types that you can deeply identify, that the CC attacks you have, the CISRF, you can enable and you can define the custom domain names and protect your internal servers according to it. Botnet detection functionality. This is the default template. So the ransomware protection, you can enable the malicious URL detection if you want to protect remote access Trojan and a specific traffic that you want to allow and deny. So you can create your specific template here, and you can choose in the policy that where you are created before, or you will create new policy, and according to that you can create your custom template and select into the policy. Here, the content security. Here is the content security where I defined you in the policy. You can, if you want to scan your email attachment, and you want to do the email scanning to disallow and allow the phishing functionality. So here you can enable the email protection, and you can define the email means how it will give you the alert. So it will give you the email notification. And if you want to specify any URL segmentation, for example, if you want to specifically stop the pornography and specific non-profit organization, means for you want to restrict internal user to the specific segment of the URLs to go over and surf. So from here, you can protect, and you can select and create one template according to your requirement. And you can select this specific URL segmentations and select as a template, and you can use this as a new template, or you can use it as a predefined templates of the Sangfor. This is the file protection. Okay, for example, if you want to specify any files that you want to restrict for the download in the advanced option, here you can come and you can define. And if you want to restrict any user to do the download and upload, so you can have here some specific predefined extensions. Here you can have see the defined signatures, script, any type of file type you can see here, and you can select this type of file, and you can policy implement as a policy of the upload and download, and you can use the both variants. In terms of that, you can restrict the download and upload by implementing this template to that policy. Okay, see here is some kind of by default our database of WAF signatures. Okay, that is unlimited. You can see there are 997 pages you can see here, which are the specific by default signatures. By that you can able to protect your server and any internal assets. And last and the least, I just want to show you quick. You can create the SSL VPN here. Okay, so if you have any internal applications that you want to give the visibility over the internet over the SSL VPN, so here you can create and deploy your SSL VPN by selecting an interface, which is your WAN interface. And okay, right now I don't have this interface any connected to this firewall. So from here you can perform and create the SSL VPN. Okay, So we will see the actual process. How can you create the SSL VPN in our guide as well? But right now I don't have any physical interface connected with this firewall. Only I have the management interface connected. That's why I can and I'm unable to create any SSL VPN here. So here you can use create the user who are the authentic user who want to use the SSL VPN. Here you can define the resources, any kind of the servers you have inside resources that you want to map over the WAN. All user can access over the SSL VPN to the specific your web application and the services resources. So here you can define the roles and specific IPs, logging options. Here are the some, for example, if your user is having some certificates and SSL secure coming via a specific SSL version with the specific version of the SSL, so that it can be allowed or not. Okay, so you can see the virtual IP pool, that only the allowed IP pool, logging option, authentication. If you have an SSL certificate, so that you can use it and define it over here. And this is the Sangfor and IPsec VPN functionality. Here you can create the IPsec VPN, and there you can start the wizard by here by simple, because right now I don't have any WAN connection, so that I cannot perform the IPsec configuration here. But from here you can create the IPsec VPN. Okay. You can define your peer IP address of the local network and destination network, and provide the pre-shared key, so that the remote branch can use the same pre-shared key, and you can confirm. You can select the outgoing interface and the defined interface local subnets that you are going to peer with the other network, other branch. These are the decryption and encryption mechanism which our firewall supported. Okay, these are the algorithm MD5 SHA and SHA-256. These are the algorithms that our firewall will use for the data encryption under the VPN. So far, this is the VPN functionality, and here we have our own proprietary Sangfor VPN that we can configure here. Okay, this is the way we can configure the VPN. Here are the actual monitoring functionality. So once you will configure all over your firewall and all of your firewall, now you want to see the logs. In the monitoring section, you will see the logs. What are the actual traffic your firewall passing through over the LAN and WAN and WAN to LAN and LAN to DMZ. So you can see the security logs. You need to select that dates if you want to do the troubleshooting or some kind of the data you want to extract as a see what type of attacks is happening in your network. So you can select the date. I believe I have some data over here, so that it will show you how our data see this is the way our data traffic according to our policy action, how our traffic is going by which source. You will see this is the source IP address, and what is going on with this is going to this destination from this source of WAN by using this WAN. And what is this doing? This is the online chat category. It is the URL. It is using web.whatsapp. And this is the website. But it means it will give you the complete insight of the traffic floating over the network from inside to outside. Okay. This is again, you will see the what are the traffic this user are taking from inside to the outside. Here you can see the access logs. Same criteria, you need to define the date and you will see the session logs by where to where. which user and source and destination, and how much session, what is the bandwidth utilizing, and everything that you can see here. Login, logout logs, SSL VPN logs, system logs, system security logs. This is related to all for the firewall. Okay. Okay, before that, I would like to show you that this is the session, what type of session this is. This will show you the live session which is created over with your firewall to the any source and any destination ports with the help of the ports, and it will show you the traffic which user are using more bandwidth and where it is going, which application inside of your firewall is taking more bandwidth with specific to the IP address, and traffic by the specific to the IP address. Top based it will show you, and it will give you the ranking. Suspicious traffic, if anything is suspicious identified in your firewall, which is related to the end user, it will highlight here. Session ranking, it will show you the IP address, which IP address is creating the more sessions. Okay, top IP addresses, it will highlight here. Session details and session histories, it will be going to show here. Bandwidth channel, if it will show you here when you will connected WANs, so it will show you the throughput, which WAN is having which load of the upload and download traffic over here. Here you will see the statistics of the application according to, you can generate any report according to the traffic and according to the application. Here you can generate the specific security report for the audit perspective. Okay. Here are the diagnostics that you can perform here to ping and all capture packets and trace what are the vulnerabilities on a specific packet header you want to trace in a deep form. So you can do it here. And top is something like you can design some specific monitoring here. Okay, so you can add any type of real-time monitoring you want to do. Okay, so you can do it here. You can maintain or select and create your specific template here. You can select that specific device, IP, destination IP, application, interface, specific URL, any VPN created you are having into the network. So you can select that as well, interface, and you can select the traffic throughput and all that, and you can create template. So I had already created some templates here, so it will show you the real-time traffic. Okay, so you can designate, change your display according to your template, and you can refresh rate, so you can refresh it and you can see the specify the historical means a define the timeline, and you can extract the report how much your in this specific duration utilization will be. So defined by the time you can see that the 30 days, 7 days, and 24 hour based template already we have in our firewall. So it can categorize you the traffic with the specific application and the source and the destination. Now, last in few minutes, here is our some kind of SOC functionality. Our firewall is a uniqueness of the light SOC function. So once you will install our firewall in the network, by this function you can assess your network. Okay, so what are the IP segment and the authenticated users you define in our firewall? By the clicking of access now, it will assess your complete environment, and it will give you the complete analysis of your risk. What are the available risks in your network? It will give you the method how you can protect your environment and give you the complete analysis, and it will define you the way how you can protect and what is the procedure. So this is the SOC Lite functionality. And this is the dashboard of our firewall. Here you can see the number of vulnerable assets you have in your environment, what assets having a which number of open ports, which assets having a weak password, which assets having a ransomware attack, Here is the risk analysis dashboard where you will see which assets are compromised, attacked, and are vulnerable. Okay. Here you can see the attack of the event and its frequency. What are the hot attacks that are having a multiple times it is attacking again and again, and what are the common attacks they are detected in your network? It will be highlighted here. Again, this is the business assets. What are which are the servers you have? This is the analytics you will have for the perspective of user. Same attacking event according to the user's frequency, and what are the main hot events and categories of the attack that is happened in your network. It will be highlighted here. This is the device status. How much is the utilization of your CPU, memory, and hard disk? And what are the status of your system is that defining the uptime version, and what are the date, and if you have a virtual firewall defined functionality in your firewall, so it can be see here. And your software update version and anything that is required to upgrade and renew, which is highlighted here. Okay. And here you can see the WAN throughput and the concurrent session. The total number of concurrent session will be highlighted here, so that you can see if there is an abnormality, you will identify which is not normal to the up to the level. So you can see here. Okay, so far I can because we have a very
Okay,
limited time.
We've partnered with many big names in our industry. So, what are you waiting for? Contact us to sweep away all your IT worries.